Yo, what is going on today, guys? I'm going to be looking at every new support item or supporter, item card, fossil, and tool card in the new packs. So the first supporter card we have is Cyrus, which is switch in one of your opponent's bench Pokemon that has damage on it to the active spot. I'm not going to say that this is going to make Sabrina irrelevant, but this is just a way stronger Sabrina. You actually get to choose what Pokemon gets brought in. So if you can get something weak, dude, or if you just use like a bench hitter, bro, like Substractor to hit something, you could use Cyrus, bring it into the active spot, switch in your Pikachu EX, for example, and then destroy it, bro. So this is going to be very annoying for a set of Pokemon if you are able to run bench hitters in your deck. And I mean, this card is going to be crazy in general, bro, especially like stuff like Greninja, etc. Or if like you get something weak and they retreat, dude. So Cyrus is probably going to be one of the new biggest staples in the game. It's just broken. It's literally just broken. Next up, we have Team Galactic Grunt, which you put a random Glamau, Stunky, or Krogunk from your deck into your hand. So it's a search card for those 3 cards, which is kind of neat. I guess I'll showcase those real quick. So Stunky is 70 HP. Dark type, obviously, not 10 damage for 1 energy, but the evolution is, let's see, where is it? 2 energy and it just poisons. You know, pretty simple. 50 damage too. Not anything too crazy. I don't think any of these Pokemon really are crazy from this card that it searches. We have Krogunk, which is flip a coin for each Pokemon you have in play, and it does 20 more damage for each head. So for every Pokemon, obviously in your active spot, you can do up to 4 coin flips for an additional of 80 damage. So 100 damage on a basic for 2 is decent, but you're not really going to be realistically flipping 4 heads every time. And we have Krogunk, which is the same thing but 40 damage. So can do up to 120. I don't think that's really that good, especially for a dark type. Then we have Glamaro 60 HP, 40 damage. If you do tells, it does nothing. And then 3 energy for Paragly. Opponent reveals their hand, and you choose a card and then shuffle it back into the opponent's deck for 3 energy. This is actually super good. Unfortunately, though, I don't think it's going to be played that much. Just because this thing in general is just not that good. And by the time you set it up, they're probably going to have most of their stuff like played. Yeah, you can get rid of like support cards in their hand. Like you can get rid of their Cyruses, for example. But I just think Paragly in general is not that good. But I mean, maybe the deck of all 3 of these might actually be pretty decent. I guess we'll have to wait and find out. Next up, we have Cynthia, which is the 50 damage for Garchomp and Togekiss. Which Togekiss is 140 HP, stage 2, psychic type. 60 damage, but the next time you attack it does an additional 60, so 120 every turn after the initial one if Togekiss stays in the active spot. And obviously you can do up to 170 with Cynthia. And then Garchomp is 100 damage, fighting and water. Also, Garchomp lets you discard a card, the draw card, which is super good. Yeah, so I'm not too sure how good Cynthia is going to be. Like, I feel like in theory, Garchomp is definitely the better of the 2. Just because I feel like, I mean, if you're playing Psychic types at that point, just play Mewtwo and Gardevoir. You don't have to rely on a support card to do up to 150 plus damage. But Garchomp is definitely interesting. You pair with the fighting or water type, so something to look out for. Next up, we have Volcaner, which is choose one of your Electivires or Luxrays, attach 2 energy from your discard pile. So this is the first time discard pile is going to be used in Pokemon. And yeah, let's look at Luxray or Electivire. So Luxray stage 2, 3 energy, discard all electric energy from this Pokemon to do 120 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. So it's basically just a Raichu but weaker for a stage 3. But you can use a support card, obviously Volcaner on it, to get 2 energy back. And then if this Pokemon has at least 2 energy attached, it does 80 more damage. I think Electivire is better, way better than Luxray because it's 4 energy for 120 damage constantly. You don't have to constantly like put energy back on it. The only thing about this is because you have to use the discard pile, you actually have to discard the energy first to be able to use Volcaner. So you're gonna actually have to use like Luxray or something like Raichu in the deck just to get the energy in the discard pile first. Or if there's an electric type that's like a basic that does it for like 1 energy, you might have to use that. Can't remember. But that is something to remember. Next up, we have Dawn, which moves 1 energy from your bench Pokemon to your active Pokemon. So it's basically just a support card, similar to how Vaporeon works with water types right now. I'm not like it's good, but I think there's way better shit to run. And there's so much limited deck space. I don't think this card's gonna be very meta. Now we have Mars, which is super broken, dude. It's red card on a crack, although I don't know how many people are actually gonna play this. Just because deck space is limited, like I said. But your opponent shuffles their hand into the deck and they only draw cards up to the number of points needed to win. So it's basically like a final effort, like to kind of like screw your opponent over to win the game. Because your opponent only needs 1 point. Use this, they only draw 1 card. So it can be like that final little push you need to take the game back. It's gonna be super obnoxious when it happens. I don't think everyone's gonna run this, but when you do play against, it's gonna be super annoying. Next up, we have the Skull Fossil and the Armor Fossil for the new Pokemon types. Bastiodon looks absolutely broken. 80 damage for 300 is whatever. Obviously, it has a really high retreat cost, but you don't want to be retreating this thing. If any damage is under this Pokemon by attacks, flip a coin, and if you land heads, it negates 100 damage. So if they have something, dude, that doesn't do 100 plus damage and you constantly get lucky, you literally cannot kill this thing. Combine this with the Dialga, I think this actually might be potential, like a really super toxic, strong deck. Obviously, it is relying on a coin flip though, as Bastiodon's or Dialga doesn't really do a lot of damage. But like these decks are going to be tanking, dude. Combined with the new pool cards, they're going to live forever. Like, dude, this thing with Rocky Helmet, if we just keep hitting heads, 800 damage basically. That's just crazy. Then Rampardos is 1 energy. If your opponent's Pokemon is knocked out, it does 130 damage for 1 energy, but if you knock out a Pokemon, it also does 50 damage to itself. So you can only attack 3 times if you have full HP and don't ever get attacked. Next up, we have Pokemon Communication, which you choose a Pokemon in your hand and then switch with a random Pokemon in your deck. Possibly can get you the stage 2 or stage 3 Pokemon you need. And yeah, it might be another staple like the Pokeball, so we'll have to wait and see. Or it might get played in place of the Pokeball, possibly. Who knows? Then we have the Giant Cape, gives you plus 20 HP, which is going to be super broken, but I've already talked about that. Rocky Helmet, which just gives everyone Druddigon's ability. And Lumberry, which takes away any status condition. With Confuse and Burn being in the game, could it be relevant? But I don't think people are going to really play this, unless a super toxic deck like Mischievous or something pops out somewhere. Anyways, these are all the ones you can get from the Palkia pack. You can get Cyrus, Cynthia, and Mars. And then obviously from Dialga, you can get these 3. I think Palkia has the better one because I think Cyrus is the one you want to chase the most out of these. And the tool cards, I don't. Yeah, also the tool cards, you get Giant Cape from Dialga. So you get Rocky Helmet and the other one from Palkia too. So I think, unfortunately, there's a mix of like both packs of things you want because I think you want Giant Cape and Cyrus the most out of all those cards. Anyways, that's all of them.